Hey there, toy collector friends and Transformers fans alike. Welcome back to the channel. I'm the Triple TC, that's the time travelling toy collector, and this is a new entry into the Transformers Studio Series range. It's the Studio Series 86 range, although it doesn't have a secondary figure number on it, as in which toy of the Studio Series 86 range it is. Because they tend not to do that with Core Class. Core Class gets sort of inserted a bit sort of willy-nilly into the line, which is a shame because on one hand this is a key character that we've been waiting for a long time, along with some of the character's additional components or compatriots perhaps. It is Studio Series 86 Steeljaw, one of Blaster's cassettes, and this of course holds a particular place in the heart of myself and possibly other UK-based collectors, lifelong UK-based collectors, because Blaster, well, firstly, Blaster was never officially released in the UK, and secondly, Blaster's cassettes were therefore never officially released in the UK back in the day. I know things have changed with different ranges over the years, but back when I was collecting, because I was, well, I say collecting, I wasn't collecting, I was amassing and playing with Transformers toys. It wasn't really about having a collection, it was about getting the, the best figures and then smashing the hell out of them because we played with them. But we never had Blaster. We never had Blaster and we never had Blaster's cassettes. I know, as I say, later ranges resolved that, but they weren't the originals. And the Studio Series stuff does tend to give us quite close to the originals, or that nice hybrid between the original toy, the animated toy, and everything that our imaginations meant that our original toys could do, but actually they never could. Studio Series 86 tends to fix that. With a couple of missteps. This is possibly one of those missteps. And if you've already seen reviews from other people, this isn't really a review. I suppose I like to appreciate the toys because I really think that they add a lot of value to my life, if I'm honest, which might sound a bit sad, but it's not. I really enjoy the collecting, the hunting down. I less enjoy the frantic need for pre-ordering at times. And the ludicrousness of disparity in release dates across the globe in this age where I don't really understand why that's even a thing. But yeah, so Studio Series 86 have given us Steeljaw, which is one of Blaster's cassettes. I had wanted to get Blaster here to do some comparisons later, but I don't think it's going to be possible today, and I do just want to get this out. And also, Blaster might be a bit embarrassed. So this is the cassette mode. This is Steeljaw in his non-cassette mode, his robot mode, beast mode, sort of lion mode, Cybertronian lion. And this is him in his Cybertronian lion mode with the one of the accessories, which is the supersonic speaker that can also be held by Blaster. But I believe we're getting a second one of those in a multi-pack set of cassettes that apparently are going to be released with another Studio Series 86 Blaster. Don't really understand the logic in that. We already have a Studio 86 Blaster. I don't know why they're giving us another one. Answers on a postcard, or indeed in the comments below. So I'm going to get this figure out. There's no window. You can see what it looks like. There is a nice little. It's hard to get the lighting in there. Yeah, you can see the little Autobot wrapped accessory pack thing there. He doesn't come with a diorama. Studio Series 86 figures usually do, but the Core Class ones do not. Probably it's not value for money for the organisation to produce them, but hey ho. But I'm going to get the box open, get him out because he's all sort of fastened in there with all these sort of twangy things, and then we can have a look at Steeljaw, and I can tell you why I think this may be a misstep. But of course I may be wrong once I get him out, so bear with me and I'll be right back. And here we are with Steeljaw out of the packaging. I'll just point this out. As I mentioned, he doesn't get a diorama, but he does get the insert. And it's a shame because the inserts actually would make quite a good diorama for this character, because this looks like the inside of the communications hub where the fight between Blaster, Perceptor, Soundwave and the various cassettes takes place. So it would have been quite nice. And maybe that's what we'll get in the Perceptor 3-pack. The Perceptor with the 3... or whatever we're going to get cassettes pack, because that would be much larger, presumably to accommodate that sort of number of figures. We may actually have a background that suits that. Anyway, that's projection for the future, who knows. but I don't think a diorama is going to be the reason I pick that up if I do. But that was just a little side note on that. Here we have cassette mode, so I'm just going to zoom in a bit for you here on the cassette mode. Now, I know cassette modes are not always that fantastic, but I'll tell you what really grinds my gears on this one. It's the fact that they've coloured this bit. Why have they left this yellow? Why is this still yellow when they've gone to the trouble of making this one grey? Why not make this one grey so it actually looks like a cohesive cassette? We've got the cassette bit in the middle, which is where the tape actually would be spooled round. So I just don't understand. That already makes me go, this makes no sense. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. So if you know the answer, again, please let me know in the comments. I'm going to not be mean about this. I'm going to turn it over. There's a little Autobot symbol. That's nice. At least we've managed to get one. And it managed to colour these two bits in, which aren't in the cassette mode. So if we're supposed to think those are faux pieces that become these two pieces, it doesn't work because this bit isn't coloured in. I'm not going to moan about this. Have I mentioned that I'm not going to moan about this, the negatives? But it just makes me think that's a missed opportunity and a little bit cheap. It's a little bit cheapskatey. And there's a lot of pins. I mean, great that there are a lot of pins, but there's a lot of pins visible. You almost want to use this side, but we won't. You know, we won't. Again, I think the engineering on this looks like it's going to be good. I just think it's a little bit unfortunate that it feels unfinished. It feels hurried and unfinished. I'll zoom out a bit so that we don't lose it completely, because then I'm going to show you that this accessory that we get, which is designed that way, so it can fit, I think, onto Blaster's hand. And when we get the second one in the next set, I will use them on Blaster, but I'm not just going to do one. But it's quite nice. It's a nice sort of gold attachment, and it's okay. It sort of ups the plastic content ready for this. And then we get the really sweet sort of Autobot wrapping paper. We still don't get any, I mean, I know he isn't a Decepticon, but we still don't get any Decepticon wrapping paper. And this is what we have in here as the remaining accessories. Oopsie. So I do like that paper. So we have this is for the purposes of transformation, of course, the winged backpack and the variation of the winged backpack that I think allows for the speaker thing to attach. But we shall put those to one side for now because we don't need them in tape mode. But yeah, so from a tape mode perspective alone, I'm just going to drop this down slightly for us all. From a tape mode perspective alone, it doesn't really scream super successful. But the almost tragic thing is, as anyone who's seen other people's videos, which is why I suppose I'm not looking forward to what happens next, is the cassette mode seems to be the preferred mode because what comes next ain't so great. Now, I've only seen different versions of it on other videos. I've tried not to watch too many for it to inform my opinion when I'm looking at doing it, and so I can share an unbiased opinion with yourselves. But it doesn't, you know, even looking at the pictures on the packaging don't really give you much hope for what this is going to look like. So I'm going to transform him up, and then you can tell me exactly what you think in the comments down below. And here we have Steeljaw all transformed into his robot lion mode. And this and you know what? And I know that I just should have known this was going to happen. As I was messing with him, I kind of started to find him a bit cuter than I wanted to admit. There are aspects of the transformation that I really like. I think I'll get with the negatives first, because then we can get those out of the way. I think there's an under-articulation within the legs. I think there's a real under-articulation within the leg. Again, it's core class, but this is Studio Series 86 stuff, and they should be better. The head's quite good. I like the transformation of the head. I tend to like the modern transformations of cassettes. I've always enjoyed them, how they've tended to be quite different. I mean, I know we've had Frenzy and Rumble, same transformation. Laser Beacon Bus, Saw Train, same transformation. But it's where they differ is where I always find it interesting. This is really, really nice. It's a little bit of a mess at the back. This piece you have to attach with his tail and the wings, so he's more sort of Griffin-esque, I suppose. But yeah, it works. Surprisingly, it works. You don't get an awful lot of posability. You can't do anything, for example, with the head. You can pose the side guns. You can minor adjustment of the wings, really. Nothing in the tail. You've got minor movement in the legs, but only on the transformation joint. So there's nothing there. There's no Autobot symbol this side. You can see the either side of the heads, the grey, what looks like bits of cassette. I don't know what to say really, because this is the bit that's not painted that I was moaning about earlier. And I suppose the reason behind it is so that in this mode, it doesn't pull focus from the face. I don't think it would. I think it should have been coloured. You know, it's a sacrifice so that the disguise works. It's supposed to disguise himself as a tape. Well, tapes don't have different colour spools. Excuse me, choking on my own bile. So yeah, actually this, I mean, it does nothing. It just sort of sits there. But it was quite cute to transform, and it sort of sits there looking quite cute. What more can I tell you? I mean, absolutely, what more can I tell you? Let's not forget, it does come with this bit. I've attached it to this. So this bit has 2 guns on the side for reasons. And what you have to do is you have to... no sooner I put this in than I'm having to pull it out. This bit here is tail assembly, which is wedged in now, so I don't know if it's even going to come out easily. So that's a nuisance in and of itself. Oh, and one of the wings has just fallen off. Yeah. Yeah, let me get the guns out of the way and see if I can get it out that way. There we go. So yeah, one of the wings just fell off, so that's super. Then that just attaches in there. We put the legs back down. Guns, we can keep them up there. And yeah, okay, it sits like that, I guess. So he can use that as an additional sonic weapon. Again, in this mode, it's a little bit lacking from the rear. And of course, you sacrifice Steeljaw's tail. And it doesn't really have any posability. You can't tilt or do anything. You know, it's great. It's cool. I mean, I'm not expecting it to. I'm just saying it doesn't do it, in case you're looking for... well, and that just sums it up. That sums it up completely, really. I'm being mean. I don't really mean that. And to be honest, this for me is more of a blaster accessory than it is a Steeljaw accessory. Let me just pop those wings back up and reattach this, which is, you know, fairly easy. There's nothing here that's mind-boggling. Does it take me back to the time when we first saw these mini cassettes? Because again, a lot of this is about, that's what it's about for me, that sort of nostalgic sense. It does to an extent, because I never had a Steeljaw, and I dare say that Steeljaw probably was a lot more aligned with the sort of the classic Ravage profile. But then they looked like cassettes, you know, they prioritised the cassette look and then made the robot form fit, which I get. I fully understand the practicalities of that. But I just, yeah, I don't know. The jury, I'll be honest, I'll be completely honest, because I'll always try and be completely honest, but I think the jury's out for me on this one. I don't dislike messing about with it. It's almost like a fidget spinner type thing. So I don't mind messing about with it, but I also oddly feel a little bit unsatisfied, which is, you know, unusual. That's not usually my go-to position with things like this. So yeah, it doesn't excite me the way some of the other figures have, but I'm glad I've got it, don't get me wrong, and I'm glad that I'm boosting Blaster's army assortment. That's great. But yeah, it doesn't set the world alight, but I can kind of live with it. I can understand why other people were really frustrated and disappointed. I get that fully. As I say, it hasn't set my particular world alight, so I do get that. But it's a core class cassette that transforms into a lion, I mean, it sounds when you say it like that, it does sound it's quite exciting. But there's got to be limitations on our expectations around core class. There perhaps shouldn't be, but pragmatically there are, and there should be to an extent. So I'm not super impressed, but I'm not as gutted by it as I thought I might be. And you know, this didn't even cost a tenner. It cost less than a tenner. So really, I suppose in today's money, this is not bad for what we get. And of course we get, as I've mentioned, the other accessory which can attach to him, but is really, for my money, this is a blaster accessory. And when the next one comes in, which we are bound to get, I think, with the cassettes, and if it is Perceptor, then, you know, great, hurrah. But overall, if you've got the money to spend and you want to have, and you're a completist and you want all of those Studio Series 86 figures, and why wouldn't you, then this is the way to go. If you're not that fussed, you're not missing out on a huge amount. Don't let FOMO rule your life in this instance. Anyway, I've spoken actually far longer than I thought I'd be able to about something that is not that impactful. So thanks for paying attention, if you were. Thanks for staying to the end. If you want to and can, please do like the video. Remember, it's the video you're liking, not the toy. Just in case, cover that base. And again, I'm trying so hard to get to my next subscriber milestone. It's quite a small channel. I'm not looking to do Patreon or anything that costs you any money. But if you could possibly drop a subscription, you'd make a time-traveling toy collector very, very happy. And I'll be able to feed Steeljaw, which is, of course, really important. Thanks again for sticking with me for the last 10 or so minutes, give or take. You've been a wonderful audience. I have been that time-traveling toy collector, and this has been Studio Series 86 Core Class Steeljaw from Transformers the movie way back in 1986. It just remains for me to say that a thing of beauty, said with high irony, really is a toy forever. Bye-bye for now.